What's going on? This is your man, Big Stu, Scott Stewart, or Professor Stewart, depending on how you know me. And we are back for yet another edition of Dope People. And I know it's sounding redundant over and over again. In every single episode, I say the same thing. But this episode, I am not letting you down. We have another dope guest, the incomparable, the lovely, the divine Dr. Carol. Dr. Carol Collum is with us today, everybody. Dr. Carol, welcome to Dope People.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you so much, Scott.
Oh man, I've been admiring you for years. I think it's been close. It's been over 10 for sure.
Wow.
Closer to 15 years that you and I have kind of been in the same spaces and places. But let me introduce you. Let me give you a proper introduction based on, your bio, and I don't mind saying it. I just got your official bio like just now, and it's phenomenal. So, Dr. Carol, for those who don't have the luxury or pleasure of knowing Dr. Carol, she's a community educator and organizer. She's an education and business consultant, mentor, and an author who takes pride in empowering clients through education and training as a leadership development professional. She's also a wordsmith, you all, so pay attention. In 2001, that's over 20 years. So you in the game when you got more than 20 years of experience. Dr. Collum established Safeguard Security and Investigation Corp. and Safeguard Training and Development Corp. These are two separate agencies. Both of these agencies allow Dr. Carol to provide business firms as well as private and public organizations with consulting, security and protective services, investigative services, and training and professional development. Dr. Carol's long-term consulting role as Chief Compliance Officer. A Chief Compliance Officer means they pay attention to the details and the wording and make sure things are in order. You must be in compliance. In her long-term consulting role as Chief Compliance Officer, Dr. Carol required her to ensure organizational compliance with local, state, and federal entities on regulation requirements. I'm not even done yet. That was 20 years ago, so let's bring it up. Currently, Dr. Carol operates an Illinois-approved training academy where she routinely conducts basic security, firearm, that means she got that stick on her, watch out, security, firearms, health and safety, and concealed carry courses. I did not know that myself. She is the owner of CYC Enterprise Incorporated, which conducts real estate investment, property management, and tenant screening and placement services. She also established Inspire Enterprises, she is busy, to provide entrepreneurial training to existing and aspiring business leaders who desire to transform their lives, the lives of their clients and local communities. Okay. Dr. Carol is a member of SCORE. She is the Vice Chair of Diversity and Education for SCORE. She volunteers her time designing and presenting curriculums that guide startup businesses in strategic planning and measuring social impact. Look, I can go on, and I will. Dr. Carol is an education and business consultant. Some of her functions include working with the 17th Ward Aldermanic Office here in Chicago, Illinois, for all of you who are all over the world, as the Youth Development Coordinator, and as an independent contractor for the Calumet Park School District 132, offering personal, professional, and leadership development assistance and support. She also is a woman of faith, a woman of God. True Believers Outreach Ministries is her personal ministry that she established back in 2008. It is a reflection of her heartfelt desire to be an example of the believer in all things. One of Dr. Carroll's most profound accomplishments was in 2013 when she established True Believers Community Connections. It's a nonprofit organization that addresses issues, crises, and needs of individuals and families, whether local or abroad. So we have something for you international folks. Dr. Collum walks alongside returning citizens and other high-risk populations. So there's folks that's just getting home, out the box, out the bean, you know, from jail, re-entry, right? She is a board advisor for the 7th District Chicago Police Department's Faith-Based Executive Council. Didn't even know they had that. Volunteers her time offering guidance to the CAPS office and faith-based leaders of Inglewood, right? Furthermore, Dr. Collum is an accomplished author. You can't have all of that and not have written at least one book. A book entitled The Mentor's Manual, Guidelines to Giving and Receiving Wisdom. I need to add that to my library. I need to add that to my list of books read. This book requires readers to think differently about the role of mentors and to better appreciate the value of mentoring relationships. Dr. Collum possesses an ED in educational leadership, an MA in educational leadership and organizational change, an MSW, Masters of Science, Social Work and Program Planning and Administration, and a BA in Criminal Justice. Dr. Carroll, her passion is to encourage others to expand their knowledge base and skill sets to become a viable asset to the contribution of leadership development. Dr. Carroll Y. Collum. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. How does it make you feel hearing all of that about yourself?
Look, exhausting because, of course, it's a lot of work. All I can say is to God be the glory. It is in Him that I live and move and have my being. He has been the main source of my strength to accomplish and go down that checklist. So to hear it, though, brings back memories. The sweat, the blood, the tears, the years on top of years of school and education, preparing myself to be in this role. Because as you know, to much is given, much is required. So as I hear that, I'm just reminded of the many, many, many sleepless nights, staying up, working hard.
It sounds like, Dr. Collum, you're busy. Are you busy, Dr. Collum?
To say the least.
To say the least.
To say the least. I will say those tasks and accomplishments were in transition times, and I'm saying that to say there were seasons where I would, of course, focus on the security work, seasons where I focused on the consulting, and currently I'm focusing on the nonprofit entity that I've just established. So those were seasonal. I know I look very, very young. However,
you do. I was just about to say that. You don't even look old enough to have done all of this stuff.
Yeah, I've been vetted. So, yeah.
So before we get into this deep, meaningful conversation about your work and really, really bring up why folks should be paying attention, extra attention to this episode, I want to play a little game. Can we have a little fun, Dr. Collum?
Okay, let's do it.
Okay, all right. Are you familiar with the game This or That?
I'm not. You just read 4 degrees. I stayed in school all my life. I'm not. Look, I'll try to catch on. I'm sorry. Look.
That's all right. No, it's all right. you're not the first who's never heard of this,
Okay.
which means it's good that I do it because some people have never heard of this game. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun.
Okay.
I just give you two options and you pick one. No
Okay.
real need to go into justification of why you've picked one of the over the other. But if you choose to, if it so moves you to give a reason why, then I'll give you the opportunity to explain. Are you ready?
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay. Uh, white meat or dark meat?
Dark meat.
Okay.
Um, dark meat, and I'll just share this. As a little girl, um, I really didn't like a lot of meat, and I still really don't care for a lot of meat. And so the white meat, of course, that portion of the meat, it seems to be big. And so I used to tell my mom, I don't want any big meat. No, no big
Okay.
meat for me. And so I'm still in that same vein. Dark
Okay.
meat because a lot more. Yeah, just don't require a lot of
Fair. 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 Cat or dog?
cat. Absolutely cat lover.
Do you have a cat?
I do not have a cat currently, but I've had cats throughout my childhood. Just the cuddly, yeah. Just prefer that cuddly, carrying them around, that sort of thing. So yeah, cat. I'm a cat girl.
Day or night?
If I had to choose between day or night, I don't know. That's a tough one for me. 'Cause I like the day because I get things done. Able to check off my box. However, I like night because I'm reflective and in prayer, really thanking God for what I was able to accomplish for the day. So the night seasons for me are those quiet times where I'm to myself. And I'm a bath girl, and so you know what I mean. So that's like my me time. But then I'm up and ready and refreshed during the day and can tackle more. So that's kind of tough for me. I don't know which one. Do I have to pick one?
This or that? This is the name of the game.
Oh, let's see. I guess it'll be that. I guess it'll be night. I guess it'll be night.
Okay, we're gonna keep going. This is fun. This is interesting. We're
Okay.
learning. We got the professional introduction. Now we're just kind of learning about kind of who you are.
Okay.
This helps us to identify that. Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Okay.
Yeah, pancakes. Well, actually, you should have threw French toast in there. I'm a French
Ah,
toast
that's a
girl,
good one. That's a
actually.
good one.
However, if I had to choose between pancakes and
Pancakes or
waffles, it
waffles.
would be pancakes. Yes.
All right, here's an interesting one, Dr. Carroll. Love or money?
Love, love all day long. Look, yeah, because I know
That's
how to
another.
make the
That's
money.
another show.
Right.
Is that
That's a
another?
whole
That's another show, huh?
I know how to make the money. Right. It's skilled at that. But no, to express love, to receive and give love is priceless.
Indeed,
Love. Absolutely love all day.
indeed, indeed. A few more, and then we'll get into the conversation. Deep dish or thin crust?
I'd have to say thin crust.
Unbelievable. You know, and
I, listen,
let me say, all you
look,
Chicago,
what?
I am blown away by the number of Chicagoans who come on here and choose thin crust. I am blown away. I don't think I've had anybody. Let me thin crust for you, huh? Are you from Chicago? We'll talk about that in a second.
Of course I am. That's just a little too much bread for me. Your girl,
Okay,
I can't do all that bread. That's just a little too much
okay.
bread.
Wonder Woman or Catwoman?
Gotta say Catwoman. She was a little bit more deviant. You know what I'm saying? She had that little thug to her. I like
Oh,
that.
okay, 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 okay.
Inglewood, you know what I'm saying? What to say? I'm a gospel gangster. You know
Right,
what I'm
right, right, right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
Right?
right.
It's,
That's
she
right.
had a little thug to her, but she was still, of course, for the greater good. But she had to tell people what's up. Wonder Woman wasn't.
That's a good one.
She
That's
wasn't
a
rough
good one.
around the edges. She wasn't rough. She wasn't rough around the edges.
I like
No.
that one. All right. When it comes to education, well, I don't want to do that one first. One more and then it. Phone call or text?
It depends on who it's from.
Watch out now. Come on, baby.
The point, right. Some will fall in the phone call category and some will fall in the text message category. I just gotta be.
You still
Just
on the
gotta be
fence. So I can't pick for you.
What?
And we can't move on until we get this or
Okay.
that.
So then I'll say phone call given who's on the other end. How about that?
Okay.
How about that?
I'll take it. We'll take it. The listeners are pleased. The listeners are pleased. All right, here's the one that was going to take us into our conversation. When it comes to education, in person or virtual?
In person.
All right, explain that. Talk about that.
And I will say the dynamics with young people experiencing peer relations, peer interactions, just relations in general, adult peer relations, learning social skills, learning decision-making skills, things of that sort, I think go over much better in person. Not that they cannot happen virtually, but I think the virtual platform limits some of our engagement strategies and things of that sort. So in person, I think is absolutely the best method to educate and teach our young people. Not the only method, but I believe it's the best method.
Now, Dr. Carroll, I didn't go to school to become a teacher, but I've been teaching for now 20 plus years. I was critical of my teachers in elementary school and high school. Believe that. I was critical of the teachers then. I'm still critical of teachers today. And I wonder if, and I'd like your feedback on this, when Thomas Ford was introducing the Model T, the first automobile, pretty much, it was at a time when the most reliable form of transportation was horse and carriage. And Thomas Ford was going around the banks. This is the story. And he was getting denied left and right. And one banker even told Thomas Ford, nobody wants that vehicle. It's not reliable. The horses are more reliable than this car. And I'm also reminded of the story when Steve Jobs predicted that everyone would have a computer in their home, and his peers and his colleagues, almost sent him to the psych ward because they couldn't imagine every home having a computer. And today, you probably have 6 computers at the least. And if we count the phones, you're probably up in the double digits of the number of computers you have in your house today. With the changing of education today, 2022, we're in the 3rd decade of the new millennium. I believe that educators, educational decision makers, are as resistant to that change as the 2 examples I just gave. What are your thoughts about that?
I think you are onto something, and I think these examples really validate that point in terms of many times we could miss a new best practice or something trendy that could benefit an entire world. As you know, many individuals are innovative and creative and can see far beyond what we can even imagine or think. And we are hesitant as individuals and resistant as individuals to embrace the new. And I think that has hindered us down through the years in terms of not being as open-minded to receive the new trendy things that could, of course, put us in a better place and position us, much, much, much better. And so I think those examples that you used, of course, speak to that because we couldn't see beyond right now, right? We couldn't see beyond what we currently had direct access to. However, here's someone who's willing to expand us and take us beyond, and really catapult us into a whole nother paradigm shift, but we want to stay right here. So I think those examples really speak to us as a people when our mindset, we're kind of limited in our thinking to embrace new.
Yeah, yeah. Before we move on with more of this, Doctor, where are you from? I heard you say, or you're from Inglewood. Born and raised in Chicago, and can you take us through your schooling? So you're not born and raised in Chicago, or what? Where are you from?
Yes, born and raised right here in Chicago, Inglewood, all day, every day.
And
And
what
so my
elementary school, what high school did you
Yeah,
go to?
so my elementary school in my younger years, I went to a Catholic school, Little Flower Elementary School. It's no longer in existence. And then, well, I originally went to St. Justin, and that's a different school now, right off of 71st and Winchester. It's St. Benedict right now, but it was St. Justin. And then I went to Little Flower, and then I went to Lourdes, all girl Catholic school. That school is no longer, I think it's John Hancock now. And then I went to uh, Jones Commercial. It was Jones Commercial then. Look, so look,
Right.
let me just say again, I look, of course, much younger than what I am. But those schools are no longer in existence. However, again, Catholic school education until I attended Jones Commercial High School of Business and Commerce. That was the focus then. And so that was my upbringing. And then I went from Jones Commercial actually to cosmetology school. Once I graduated from high school, I went and received my cosmetology license at John Amico. That school is I don't think they're in
Yeah,
existence
I
anymore
think
either.
they're still around.
It's a few around, but
Yeah,
it was the one on 79th and Cicero that's not there anymore. But but and once I received my cosmetology license, I then went to Daly College, community college. Went there for a semester, and from there went on over to Chicago State University. That's where I actually received my bachelor's degree, just as you said, in criminal justice. I then went, uh, after my bachelor's degree, I went to obtain my master's in social work at Chicago State. And then I went to Aurora University to receive my post social work degree to get my Type 73 certification because Chicago State did not have that program yet. So I went to Aurora University, got that post 73 to receive my school social work certification. After that, came back to the city of Chicago and attended Roosevelt University to receive my master's in educational leadership and organizational change. From there, went back to Chicago State to receive my doctorate in educational leadership. So that was my educational journey. And again, long nights of reading, research, studying, things of that sort. But glad to say that my education was here in the city of Chicago, and again, a resident of Inglewood, where I have always been vested with supporting and giving back to the community, and still yet have that opportunity to work here with some wonderful people.
I wanna focus. I wanna go back and focus a couple questions, particularly just around Middle school, so it's between 6th grade and 12th grade.
Okay.
What kind of student were you, Dr. Collum?
Oh, I was terrible.
Talk
Absolutely
about it.
terrible.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
Absolutely terrible. I was one of those kids that stayed in the principal's office. I was one of those kids that the principal knew my mama's job number by heart.
Why were you in the principal's
Uh,
office? Like, what would get you to the principal's office?
Buck wild, fighting all the time. I was a brawler. I was a true brawler, like real talk.
Wow. I'm glad
I
I
was
asked this question. Wow.
a
Would have
yeah.
never in a million years thought
Oh my
that.
goodness, I was
Okay. All
a
right. So,
absolute brawler. And I
okay.
laugh and joke because I say, y'all were no brawlers. I could tell a brawler because yo,
I wasn't no brawler. I was not no brawler. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
So,
no, I
so
was.
okay, you were terrible. What kind of grades were you getting?
Now I had perfect attendance, straight A. I was always very, very smart, but and I, but I just I had a smart mouth, and so if I, said something smart to somebody and they said something smart back, I wasn't having it, So it was more or less fighting because I had to stand my ground, and you ain't gonna talk to me like that, and let me show you who I really am, kind of thing. But to God be the glory. I'm glad the Lord, changed my
I know that.
mindset from that. But I was not gonna take it from nobody.
When did that change? When did you say this ain't working? This is not who I want to be. What do you remember when that change happened?
Oh gee, I think it was well into my mid to late 20s, if not early 30s, when it really dawned on me that I'd be fighting every day, all day,
Yeah.
if I would maintain that mentality. Yeah, I did have my first profession was law enforcement before I went into social work, and so even that added to that demeanor and that mindset of being tough and having to prove myself and just set the standards and things of that sort. And so I think again the transition from that profession, although again the skills that I received and acquired doing that profession allowed me to go and get some other licensures and start some businesses. However, the mentality and the mindset needed to change. And yeah, that was about my late 20s, early 30s.
Now you were an educator. You
Yeah.
help educators. I'm interested to know, and our listeners are interested to know, three things, three essential questions that will take us home, and maybe hopefully we'll get a chance to you to integrate kind of the work that you're doing now. But what's working in education today, particularly for middle school to high schoolers, in your opinion, and based on what you've seen and what you're seeing, because you're still in that space, what's
Yeah.
working in education? Like what's really good about today's education?
What I gotta say was working and what's working well, and what I'm just so elated about is that there's still committed individuals that get up every day and really take to heart encouraging, motivating, educating, inspiring, equipping, come on, transforming the lives of young people. I think that's what's keeping the system going, right? We can talk all day about what's not working, but I think the number one resource is that the people who are committed to the cause, they're committed to be there every day in spite of all of those hiccups, headaches, all of those issues, all of those challenges, they still get up every day because they got those babies in mind. I think that's what's working.
That's
You get what
profound.
I think that's what's working.
Everyone that's come on so far, every guest has come on, and many guests often, I think just about every guest has credited teachers
Hmm.
for the success of what's working or in the classroom. It's because of teachers.
Hmm.
Okay, Dr. Cullum, what do you think needs to be improved? I mean, I know you said we could go all day about complaining about this is not to complain, But just what what do you imagine the improvements are in education or need to be in today's education?
And we've had extensive conversations about equity across the board, right? And it can stem around that equity in resources, equity in um, um, the supply and demand of even just thinking of our children, our youth, and our young adults in like the Inglewood community. If we just think of them on an equal playing field, I think that would change the dynamics of what we're doing. So equality, I think, would be the driving force in terms of really trying to address those things that are out of sync or out of source. Because it's been decades upon decades that our youth have just simply missed out. They've simply missed out. And again, just as you said, we can talk all day about what those issues are, what those things are, but the system, the educational system in totality would need such a microscopic walkthrough to really see how to level the playing field because there hasn't been equal score. There hasn't been equal score from day one. And so all of these hundreds and hundreds of years, now we have this current system, and it's still needing attention, dire attention. So I'll just leave that with that. And again, without getting into the intricacies, because many meetings about what could be solutions and what could be, addressed. But I'll just say, I think it stems around equality. I think that would help us, in terms of systematically, and you're muted.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with that. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing right now, and a little bit about that Stay Lit poster painting behind you. What's going on with Dr. Cullum, Dr. Carroll right now?
Well, right now, just as you mentioned, True Believers Community Connections is the nonprofit organization that I am executive director and founder of currently. And we have a youth initiative called Stay Lit. And thank you for highlighting that. So we service youth ages 11 to 24. Our headquarters is in the Auburn Gresham community. However, we service youth in the Inglewood community as well as surrounding neighborhoods as well. Social emotional learning activities, we focus on that. We focus on just shaping and equipping young people for adulthood, shaping them for life. And so that can be workforce development, that can be personal development, professional development, goal setting, just those things that youth really need to be exposed to in order to get them better prepared to encounter those things that we have encountered as young people ourselves. And so we're here for them. We provide them with safe spaces to talk through things of equality and injustice, right? We allowed them to come and talk about, the current temperature of what Chicago is facing right now, especially like when we encountered the looting. We just had those safe spaces for them to, hey, how are you feeling, even about COVID? And so we do that so that they can begin to process and reflect and really begin to make sound decisions about life. Because we find that their perspective, they may have a skewed perspective of something, or that they just need to add the history behind the current situation and then begin to put their perspective with that and make a better, decision about what to do next. Because we have some very sharp young people, and they just need coaching, right? They just need a little guidance because perhaps again that history may not be as well known, and we provide that for them. And like you mentioned, returning citizens, young mothers, whoever we can support. We get random calls for just people who need assistance with job placement. We do that. And we take pride in that because we want to be that connecting link for whatever supports that they need. That's what we do. That's what we do currently. And again, we're proud to say that.
And you're doing that work. You're doing that work in Inglewood right now.
We're doing the work currently in Inglewood.
Wow.
We've had babies. We have had babies in our programming as far as New Trier High School. So we don't exclude. If they reach out to us and want to participate in our programming, we welcome them, because what we don't want to do is reject anyone, right? We don't want to do that. However, yes, Inglewood is our primary community, as well as Auburn Gresham, but we'll take babies wherever.
You know, I find that we as Black folks, we rarely, if ever, exclude people or reject people. And I think some of that has come just from historically us always being excluded and rejected. And you know, we just don't want to inflict those emotions on other folks. So we let everybody in when clearly other folks ain't necessarily interested in always letting us in. So hats off to you for being inclusive in your programming. And also another hat off to you for serving in the community in which you were born and raised.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Dr. Carroll, what, in your opinion, does education look like 10 years from now?
I think we have started a new paradigm shift where COVID has really pushed us to this COVID-19. This hybrid model, I think, is going to eventually evolve into being predominantly online. You know, we embrace that. We welcome that in terms of how we would change our instructional modalities and things of that sort. But I think that's where we're headed. I would hope that it would be, again, more inclusive, just as you said. And I'm hoping that it will still yet encourage and inspire and empower individuals. Well, I'll say that would be our focus, right? We want to make sure that our underlying blueprint is to equip individuals for their next level of greatness. Now, whether that's online, whether that's in person, wherever that is, that should be the underlying layer, right? If someone has been in my presence, if someone has sat and listened to a presentation or a workshop, seminar, whatever it may be, my hope is that they're better because they've been with me, right? That's my goal. That's my ultimate goal. And my hope is that education and training on any level, that should be the ultimate goal. Has someone received some type of content, information? Have you impacted their lives to the extent where they're better, right? And then it can even go further than that, because we want to tap into that level of greatness that they may not have even recognized that's in them themselves, right? I want to wake that up. I want to stir that up. And I want to get them to the place where they can see, wow, I got this, right? If somebody can't say that after being in my presence, I've did them a disservice. That's what I believe.
Sounds like that money back guarantee, that quality control guarantee. If I haven't positively impacted your life, I've done you a disservice.
I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, and I can feel that beams off of you. Before we wrap up, Dr. Carroll, is there anything that you would like to share before we wrap up that we didn't get a chance to kind of touch on?
I think I'll just continue to echo that in terms of what I have kind of, or I should say the why behind writing my book, The Mentor's Manual, Guidelines to Giving and Receiving Wisdom. The reason I wrote that book, again, it's a parallel between mentoring and spiritual midwives. And I believe that word mentor has been abused. It's been used a lot. And so if we literally look at it as a parallel, mentoring and spiritual midwives, in the sense of, someone literally in life walking alongside someone in order to help them give birth. So a mentor is really someone who stands in that role, walking along life, not just attending the baby showers, not just attending the weddings. Come on, that's important. Not just showing up to the graduations, but have you assisted me in giving birth to my potential, birth to my purpose, right? Birth to my destiny. If we've done that, then now you stand in that capacity as a mentor, right? That spiritual midwife. Because again, otherwise, we've done them a disservice. We're just a friend. We're just an associate. We're just an affiliate. But if you're a true mentor, you've helped someone give birth.
That's absolutely phenomenal. That's something, Dr. Collum, that I will be taking from this conversation and instituting in my own daily practices and works, ensuring that kind of guarantee that I am helping to give birth to people's transformation, positive transformation, and not just being a casual bystander. Dr. Carol Collum, it has been an absolute pleasure being able to listen to you for this period of time. It is an honor to have you as a trusted colleague who responds. And I look forward to the opportunity to call you a friend in the near future and working with you in the capacity of serving the people that we choose to serve. Any final thoughts? I know you've said a lot. You've honed in on it. You put the stamp on it. Last final thoughts, words, parting gifts from you, Dr. Collum?
Well, I'll just say we are truly better together. So, continue to reach out. I appreciate you just for this opportunity. Whatever I can do, I believe that I will certainly do my best. And whatever. I trust likewise. So that's it for me. No, thank you. And I truly appreciate our partnership.
Well, I pray to God every day that He sends me people that will help me be a better man. And hey, He continues to answer my prayers. For all of you listeners out there, thank you for chiming in again to another episode of Dope People. You already know what it is. Until next time, peace.